Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Chakorash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule well and teach well with sincerity, honesty, and integrity. Brothers labor in this truth, putting their life on the line, especially in these times. Salutations to you, brothers, you sisters who believe in this truth wholeheartedly and sincerely. Shalom to the hopeful elect. All right, so as you read this brother put this in a chat. Uh, and, I was like right away. I just started meditating on how you know how we need to you know ultimately, man, be delivered, man, out of this place, man. All right, but let's read this. It reads: dog food recalled in UK after reports of pets losing their sight. Right, and it reads, it says, it has chosen to issue a voluntary recall as precautionary measure rather than any causation having been proven. All right, we'll see. A dog food brand has recalled all of its fresh meals after reports that a recipe change may have caused some animals to develop an eye condition that, if left untreated, can lead to sight loss. The brand said owners should stop feeding its fresh meals to their dogs immediately, and also told them not to feed them to any other animal or to donate or sell them. In response to reports from some owners of pets not responding to treatment and in some cases losing their sight, Years told The Guardian the picture is mixed. Some opta, op, ophthalmologists report dogs responding well to the treatment. Others have seen limited or slower responses. All right, and it reads the firm wants a subscription-based service delivering personalized meals, and its products are also available at some retailers, including Pets at Home. Years said that as of the early hours of Wednesday, it had received 192 reports of potential yet unverified eye issues out of roughly 40,000 customers. It previously said that ASOF Sunday, it had 57 suspected cases of the condition known as sudden bilateral dry eye. Dry eye in dogs, also known as keratoconus conjunctivitis, (SICA) or KCS, occurs when a dog is unable to produce tears, make their eyes very sore. Bilateral means it affects both eyes. All right. The point was made. Keep on reading. You know, see, and the brother put the scripture in, and I had it as well. We'll go get it. Um, I had the same scripture that I was going to use. Put it in the chat. And the other brothers. Isaiah 24, verse 3. Verse 4. The earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languish and fadeth away. The hardy people of the earth do languish. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broke the everlasting covenant. Therefore, therefore have the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore, the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. And that's going to be ultimately the result of these unrighteous kings, these unrighteous rulers. The wicked bear mourn, so the whole earth is the wicked bear rule, so the earth mourneth, man. Matter of fact, let me grab that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna finish this. I'm gonna go to the. I'm gonna get that in the AMP. Let's get that in the AMP. See, the earth is also polluted by its inhabitants because they have transgressed the laws, right? So the people that's in power, right? The earth, the world is given into the hands of the wicked. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. right? The wicked, and then what they're doing. They're the ones in charge, right? So that it's been nothing but pollution. Wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, right? Because who's in charge, right? And it reads, the earth also is polluted by its inhabitants because they have transgressed the laws, violated statutes, right? The everyday thing, you know, the everyday use that was good for man, women, even the whole, um, I forget what they would call it. Uh, um, the ecosystem in a sense. Matter of fact, we're gonna get it. Matter of fact, I'm not gonna see some. What's the ecosystem? Mm. Yep. Whole ecosystem. An ecosystem is a community of living things like plants and animals working together with non-living things like air, water, and soil in a specific area. All right. So the whole ecosystem, right, is being destroyed, man. You see the things that was naturally supposed to be done by, Yahweh Shem Shah when he created, and go back to Genesis, everything was created perfect, man. You know what I'm saying? When they said they was, pleased, they was pleased with the work they created, man. But see, the inhabitants of then destroyed everything, man. You see? Um, yep, the inhabitants then destroyed everything. All right. So the earth also was polluted by its inhabitants because they have transgressed the laws, violated statutes, and broken the everlasting covenant. Right? So, the scripture says, what has thou do to declare my statutes? Seest thou hatest instruction, right? They hated instruction, right? So they cannot, you can't turn a crooked thing straight. Woe unto, they anything that is for a purpose of good, they use it and do wickedness, man. They create, you know, uh, you know, all different type of, you know, geo, no, uh, genetic, genetic, GMOs, basically. Uh, you know, brain freeze. You know how it go. Let's go get it. Yeah, GMO, genetically modified organisms, right? Is any plant, animal, or microorganism whose genetic material DNA has been changed in a lab. You see, that's Esau Edom, man. In a lab using modern biotechnology or genetic engineering. Scientists make these changes to add helpful, no, destruction traits like past resistance or better nutrition. You see? But if that's the case, right? If that's the case, right? Why are we having this problem right here? Right? In recent August 2000, okay, look, recent over two recall food list in 2026. Over 160 food and safety recalls have been issued by the FDA and USDA in 2026, driven by concerns over salmonella, listeria, cyclospora, and undeclared allergens. Right, recent August 2026 recalls. Right, so we just seen the dogs, right? They had to go through that recall. Now let's watch this. This is just 2026 of August. August, we win the 19th day, right? It says outshine frozen fruit bars, right? Jalapeno peppers and associated produce. You see? Market side tomato bisque and soup kit. Prolon Apulon almond and cocoa spread. The Hampton Grocer granola, right? For salmonella, right? Right? uh, Major mid 2026 outbreaks and recalls. Iceberg lettuce, July. Nora Organics infant formula. You see, it's supposed to be organic, right? See, nothing but death and destruction. You see, nothing but death and destruction follows them. All right, and that's Esau Edom. All right. Matter of fact, um, Okay, so let me see something. Habakkuk 2 and 5 read. Yeah, let's get this in the NLT. 2 and 5 in the NLT reads, wealth is treacherous, and the arrogant are never at rest. See, he's a proud man. You see? You never keep it at home, you see? Right? They open their mouths as wide as the grave, and like death, they are never satisfied. See, that as like death, they're never satisfied. In their greed, they have gathered up many nations and swallowed up many peoples, right? All right. So, yeah. So, like it says, who enlarges his desire as hell and cannot be satisfied, right? You see, and that's Esau Edom to the T, man. You know, let's read verse 4. It says, behold, his soul, which in the KJV, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him. Right? What has thou do to declare my statutes? Roughly paraphrasing. He's not upright, he's wicked. But the just shall live by his faith. All right. So, you know, right here, verse in the NLT. Look at the proud. They trust in themselves and their lives are crooked. You see, so we understand. It's not yet. Ecclesiastes 1 and um uh 15, it reads, that which is crooked, Esau Edom, cannot be made straight, right? Because he enlarges his desire, is we just read it, his desire, right? He is a proud man, need to keep it at home, who was enlargeth his desire as hell. All right. He enlargeth his desire as hell and cannot be satisfied. He was insatiable, right? And it reads that Ecclesiastes 1 and 15, that which is crooked cannot be made straight, and that which is wanton cannot be numbered. All right. So this man is undisciplined. This man cannot be straight. Can an Ethiopian change his skin? Can a leopard change his spots? All right. So this man is going to be the wicked and will always continue to be the wicked. All right. But let me grab this and then we'll end it, man. But you know, we point was made right there. So over again, all these things people having issues with, man. Matter of fact, let's go to news. Yep, outshine fruit bars. All these things. Egg recall over salmonella. See, they didn't put that right. Class, you know. See the full list of affected products. You see, food recalls keep growing. Eggs, lettuce, soup, and more affected. Right. We looked up this word. I don't know if it was in class, but toxicology, meaning, see, toxicology is a scientific study of how chemical, biological, and physical agents cause harmful effects on living organisms and ecosystems. You see, so they're all about toxicology and figuring out what can be destructive and on living organisms and ecosystems, man. Destroying all. See, that's why I'm gonna bring this out to end it. Um, Romans 8. You know where I'm going. Romans 8 and verse. We'll start at 18. Romans 8 and 18. For I reckon that the suffering of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. All right. For the earnest expectation of the creature waiteth for the manifestation of the sons of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, right? A paradigm shift, a transition of power, right? You know, from a wickedness power to a righteousness power, you know, under Yahweh Shai and leading with the 144,000. King David being the king, right? So, but the creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who have subjected the same in hope, because the creature itself also shall be delivered, right? So those pets, those dogs, shall also be delivered from the bondage of corruption from Esau, Edom, man, right? Into the glorious liberty of the children of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, man. All right, so that's what so right here, for we know that the whole creation groaneth. All right, let's get that word, groaneth. And it reads, groaneth. Um, groan. So groan. So great. Let me go get in. I'll get it right here.
Strong's G 4959, sustenadzo. Sustenadzo.
Yeah, so bring it down to moan jointly, experience a common calamity, right? And that means disaster, right? So the whole earth mourning, right? Whole earth mourning, the whole creation, Salakia, the whole creation, right? For we know if the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now. All right. All right. Yeah, so waiting for the manifestation of the sons of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, because again, we'll say it again right here. Proverbs 29:2, and it reads, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, the creations rejoice, the whole ecosystem rejoice, from the plants from the plants, from the pets. I mean the pets from the animals, right? Right? So when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked bear fruit, the people mourn. The whole ecosystem mourns. All right, so with that, pray this lesson was edifying. Shalom to the whole elect. Watch and pray, man.